welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over my November reads and picking my December TBR. So the first 5 books that we read this month are actually covered in my Giving Authors a Second Chance video. I decided to do an entire video dedicated to authors redeeming themselves in my eyes and trying books that were written by authors that I had given lower ratings to other books. So my full thoughts and spoiler-free reviews are already in the last video on my channel. Here's just a quick little rapid fire of what all I thought of all of these books to have them in our monthly wrap-up since I read them this month. So the first book that we did in that video was Once More with Feeling. This was by Alyssa Sussman, and I ended up giving this one a 4.5 stars. The next book that we picked up in that video was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and I gave this one 4 stars. The next book that we picked up in that video was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and this one I ended up giving 4 stars. Watching You by Lisa Jewell was another thriller we did in that video, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars as well. The last book that we picked up in that video was When in Rome, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars as well. Okay, so since that video took up a good chunk of the beginning of the month for me, these last 3 books that I picked up are all that I've read in the last 2-ish weeks. I ended up getting really sick last week and just being fully out for the count, sleeping for hours and hours. So did not get as much reading done as I had anticipated during my Thanksgiving break since I was off, for a 5-day weekend basically. But that is totally okay. I will give myself grace and be I'm allowed to be sick every now and then. So the first book that I picked up after finishing this little redeeming authors, giving them a second chance video, was Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And if you know me, you know that Ali Hazelwood does not need any redemption in my eyes. All of her books are 6 stars. Everything that she writes is amazing, and Mate was no exception. Gave this one 5 stars. In this one, we are following Serena, who's a character that happens to be in her other paranormal romantasy book, which is Bride. So in the world of Bride, the vampires, werewolves, and humans are all kind of coexisting, but they're not coexisting very peacefully. And so in the plot of Bride, the vampire, I don't remember what she's exactly called, consort or something, but the vampires go ahead and make a kind of treaty with the werewolves, a pact, if you will, that they will go ahead and have peace if they agree to this little marriage of convenience. So it's very marriage of convenience coded. It's so good. And it's between a vampire named Misery and a pack leader named Lo. And so in this one, we're following Misery's best friend, Serena, who was kind of like her human confidant when she lived in the human world, going to human school, doing all things in the human world to keep peace with the humans. Serena's actually half werewolf, and she doesn't know that until she, becomes an adult and finally shifts for the first time. And so in this one, we are following Serena in her journey to kind of uncover what is going on with her family, where her parents went since she was raised as an orphan, and kind of what is going on with her kind of history. And she is teaming up with a different alpha of a different pack named Cohen. So in typical Ali Hazelwood fashion, this is a very broody MMC. We absolutely loved Cohen. I ate it up. Everything about him was just absolute perfection. Serena's convinced that he hates her and he's doing all these things because he doesn't like her. But in actuality, he's so damn bad for her. He's super obsessed with her. So having a good time with that. And Serena's kind of family tree starts to unfold in very interesting ways. Another thing I loved about this one is it's set in the Pacific Northwest. So the pack that Cohen is alpha of is the Northwest pack, and they're kind of based in the Olympia area. And so being just south of Seattle, I thought that was super interesting. I've been to Olympia a ton of times. So it was kind of nice to see, a little bit of a nod to a place that I'm familiar with that was done well. Because usually I don't like that in books because usually they're very wrong. Usually they're super way off. This one was actually done relatively correctly because I also don't think that it's possible to mess up the Pacific Northwest. The part of Washington I live in, at least, it's all trees, girl. Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of trees. Yep. Mountains. Yep. That's really it. So that was also a nice little nod and a little touch in here. And it ended up getting really culty kind of toward the end, which was not expected. So that kind of unfolds in a very interesting way to do with Serena's family tree and kind of what's going on with her family. And I thought that was super interesting as well. And so gave this one, like I said, a 5-star. Hopefully she keeps doing more in this universe. I don't know if she will. We didn't get really introduced to any side characters that I think were fleshed out enough to get other stories out of, but I do think that this was a really good, fun time. I ate it up. The next book that I picked up in the month of November was Gleam. This is the 3rd book in the Plated Prisoner series. she's chunky. So this did take a minute. I did the audiobook, and I always do my audiobooks at like 2.5 speed when I'm doing immersive reading. And I swear this still took me like 4 days, which is like crazy to be doing an audiobook at 2.5 times speed, and it still takes me like that long. Like, it was insane. But like I said, this is the third book in the Play to Prisoner series. I gave this one 5 stars. Definitely my favorite in the series so far. I definitely think that the first book in this series felt like it was very much like setting up where things were going. It felt like we weren't getting to the meat of anything yet. The second book in the series I ended up really liking, but I also felt like we were still like missing something in it. Like, it still wasn't getting quite there yet. This one's where we're there. We are finally there. And I was having such a good time. I feel like we finally are seeing Auren, like making these plans. She's like putting things into motion. We're seeing, like how she truly is. I think she's finally come into her own to a point where she was able to like stand up for herself and do what she wanted to do in like the limited capacity that she had to do what she wanted to get done. I also think that the MMC in this was, again, so down bad for her. I absolutely love them together. I love how he is with her. I think the only thing about this that I did not absolutely love was that like she had to actively seek him out at one point. Like, she literally was like, you didn't help me at this thing. And like, he didn't know to help her. So like, that's not his fault. But I also did not love that she then had to like go seek him out and be like, hey, you done fucked up. Because like, that would not fly in real world for me personally. I just expect men to read my mind. So for her to have to like seek him out and be like, hey, you done goofed. Like, I'm mad at you. I didn't love that, but I still liked 99% of everything else that was happening in this. I still absolutely loved all of our side characters. I feel like we got introduced to a new side character that I'm obsessed with. I actually really, really like her and like where she's going. Like, I want to see what she does. Like, I really hope that we can like team up with her and have our like feminine rage like arc. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think she will become the enemy, but I was obsessed with her. I thought she was great. I was eating her up. So that is Gleam, third book in the Play to Prisoner series. And then the last book that I ended up picking up in the month of November was Blood Moon, also off of our TBR. I tried to stick pretty much straight to the TBR. I think I did relatively well, besides my little reading challenge that I had to kind of like work around. I read 8 books this month. I didn't say that in the beginning of the video. Why did I forget to say that? But so Blood Moon, this one is Twilight meets like the Vampire Diaries. It's inspired by Bonnie from Vampire Diaries, which I was not a big Vampire Diaries girl. I was very much Pretty Little Liars girl and like a Twilight girl, obviously. So hearing that it was similar to Twilight in any capacity, I was like, yeah, of course I'm gonna eat it up. I'm obsessed. And it very much was giving Twilight to me as someone who like could pick up the references. Like, there were scenes and I was like, oh my God, that's totally a nod to this thing. This is exactly like that scene in Eclipse. This is exactly like the scene from like the first Twilight. And so it was really nice to like see those little things. But at the end of the day, I only gave this one a 4.75 instead of a 5, because to me, if you say a book is set in the Midwest, I kind of always assume it's going to be like Ohio, Iowa, Indiana, like somewhere like upper Midwest. This was set in Kansas, which is where I'm from. And it was very much giving, like, do you know people in Kansas, really? This girl who wrote it, Britney S. Lewis, in her little bio in the back of the book, it says she's from Kansas. So I will assume that she knows as many people in Kansas as I do. But the people I've met in Kansas, they're not the gonna believe in werewolves type of Kansas people. Like, people in Kansas don't believe in the moon landing. They don't believe in vaccines. They don't believe in COVID. They don't believe in the Holocaust. Like, they're not believing in shit. Why would they believe in werewolves? And so for her to have this set in a town like an hour outside of Kansas City, which is literally like, I'm from an hour outside of Kansas City. So for her to be like, it's an hour outside of Kansas City in a county with a population of 200,000, which the county I'm from is population a little under 200,000. So I was just over here like, is this play about me? But like, I obviously don't have 2 broody werewolves like fighting over me, so no, it can't be. But I just like could not suspend my disbelief for some of the things that she was saying about this like small. She also kept calling it like a small town, and I'm like, people in Kansas would like make fun of you if you're from a county that big, saying you're from a small town. Like they would literally just like laugh at you because like that's not a small town. So I thought that was super interesting. And like I said, overall, gave this one a 4.75. It also got a little culty at the end, not gonna lie. I don't know if like werewolves do cults now, and that's like a thing. But like both the werewolf books I read this month, very cult like. And as like a true crime girly, of course I'm eating up a cult. I love when we're all drinking the Kool-Aid. So yeah, I was eating up a book about werewolf cults. It was great. So yes, this one, and I'm hoping it's the first one in the series because we kind of get left on a cliffhanger. But again, really enjoyed it, had a good time. So that was all of the books that we picked up in November. We left 2 off of our TBR that were our like forgotten children, didn't get to Lights Out or Lost and Lassoed. I'm hoping to pick up the audiobook for Lost and Lassoed. I'm pretty sure if I read it at 2.5 speed like I always do, it's literally 3 hours. Today is the 30th though, so like I don't know if I'm gonna have time. It's like 2:30. I don't know if I'm gonna have time after finishing editing this to get Lost and Lassoed like squeezed in. So that's why I'm just gonna go ahead and do the video and we'll figure it out from there. But like hopefully we can squeeze these in to our December TBR. I've been meaning to read Lights Out forever, so I know my friends are going to give me such shit about it. But let me go get the TBR dice game, and we will go ahead and start picking our December TBR. Let's go ahead and do our first roll. 2 and 1. 2 and 1. Okay, that's perfect. That's absolutely what I need right now. We got part of a series, and there's a sequel that came out last month that I did not get around to, and I need to pick it up like ASAP. And that book is Brimstone. So yes, that is exactly what we need right now. We needed this to be on the TBR. So yes, that is the correct choice. Now let's roll for book number 2. 6 and 4. Okay, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Less than 300 pages. We also need that on the TBR because Brimstone is crazy. This book is huge. So less than 300 pages. Is Swift and Saddled? Or no, Lost and Lassoed? I don't think this one's under 300. I think we've tried to put it on a TBR before for that, and it's not. No, maybe it is. The last page is page 300. Do we count this? I think I'm going to count this. I think I'm going to say Lost and Lassoed gets to be on the TBR again. It's like, I want to read it. That's like my problem, is like, I want to read a cowboy romance so bad. I've been in the mood for like 2 months, and then I just forget it exists. So I just need to pick it up, is what we're saying. So yes, Lost and Lassoed is going to be our second book on the TBR, which is very exciting. Next up, we have 4 and 2. 4, 1, 2. Brown on the cover. Okay, that one's hard. I think the last time we got brown on the cover, I got Hemlock Queen, and that was a stretch. Because, like, was that brown? Not really. So let's see what else we could do for brown on the cover. Let me get a couple of books going, and we'll go from there. Be right back. So, I genuinely feel like I looked at every single book, and they either had, like, a stroke of brown and, like, had, like, a character with brown hair, and then like the rest of the cover was not. And I was like, ugh, that feels like cheating. Like I'll show you what I'm talking about. I was very close to putting Good Spirits on the TBR because he has brown hair. But then I was like, no, I'm going to challenge myself. That feels like a cop-out answer of like, oh, there is brown on the cover. But like, it's like 2% of the cover is brown. I was like, no, we're not doing that. I'm trying to stick to my rules that I made up. So the one book that I found that sounded interesting that I'm in the mood to read actively right now that has brown on the cover is For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn. Yeah, J.C. Lynn. I know next to nothing about this book. I saw it at one of my indie romance bookstores in my area and just thought that the edges were insane and just had to have it. So I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I haven't heard anyone read it. I just knew that I had to have it, and it has not only like brown, but like you can see it's kind of like a bronze. kind of color on it. So I figured this would be a good fit. I think it's going to wreck me a little bit to have two of the biggest fantasy books on my TBR right now, like in the same month's TBR. But that's fine. It's okay. I can probably I definitely already have Brimstone on Audible. Like I used an Audible credit on it. I can probably get For Whom the Bell Tolls as an audiobook as well. I'll check Spotify and see if I can get it as an audiobook there. So that was book 3. Let's go ahead and pick book 4. 3 and 2. 3, 2. Lit fic. A literary fiction. Okay, that's gross. I don't love that. Let me see what literary fictions. Wait, this might be a good chance to get. Is that considered lit fic? I was going to say, this might be a good chance to get the Portrait of Dorian Gray, because that was one of my 25 books to read in 2025. I don't know if that's considered literary fiction, though. Like, I would imagine it is, because what else could it be categorized as? But let me look. Okay, I don't really know why it's giving me like a summary of the book right now. Okay, so that falls under gothic horror and psychological fiction, which I did not know. I did not know it was horror. That's a little spooky. I don't love that. Okay, so if that one's out, let's take a peek at my literary fiction section, which is literally like 5 books, and see what we've got. Be right back. Okay, so my literary fiction section right now includes Rouge by Mona Awad, which in my eyes, that's like spooky season. That's like September, October time. Like, I don't really know what it's about in detail, but like, I know that Mona Awad writes spooky season books. So that one's out. The other book that I have on that shelf is The Women by Kristen Hanna. My coworker keeps telling me to read it, and I'm scared. It's so thick, and I already have 2 really beefy books on the TBR, and I don't need the first 4 books I pick on my TBR to be some of the biggest books ever. I mean, poor little Lost in Lassids over here sandwiched between the 2 biggest books I own. So yeah, I don't need to add a third big book. I think we're good on big books. So that leaves the last 2 books on my literary fiction shelf, which is 10,000 Doors of January. 10,000 Doors of January and Lessons in Chemistry. I know that this one is about a lady in like the 60s who wants to be a scientist, and I believe she becomes a scientist. Yeah. Her all-male team at the Hastings Institute. She's forced to resign, reluctantly signs on to host a cooking show. Yes, I do remember hearing about that. Like, she teaches women chemistry, like, through her cooking show. So this is an option. And then 10,000 Doors of January. I think this one's about a girl reading a book about other people's lives. I'm kind of confused. I don't know. Either way, not usually my cup of tea, but I do think that Lessons in Chemistry sounds more interesting, like overall. I think I like this one better because this one has kind of like a premise of what is that Matt Haig book that everyone likes? The Secret Library? The something library. And I don't love when it's a book about someone like going into like other like worlds that they could live in and living other people's lives. I think that's kind of awkward and like weird. I don't love that trope. So I think we're gonna go with this one. I think that's gonna be book number 4. Another kind of skinny legend too. I think this is like less than 350 pages. Oh, no, 380. But the font's kind of big. So we're halfway through picking our TBR. This will be for book number 5. 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blue on the cover. Okay, blue on the cover we can do. We have so many blue books. Let's go ahead and look for a blue book. If you would have asked me before this how many of my romance books have a blue cover, I probably would have said, I don't know, maybe 3. No, way more. Way more. Way more. And this wasn't even all of them. I had to like stop. So I was like, gosh dang. Okay, so we have 7 to pick from. I really just wanted a light, fluffy, cozy romance. Like that's really all that we wanted. So, first one is Only for the Week. This one follows, I believe, her name's Janelle. Okay, there we go. I was like, I believe she's like a doctor. Yeah, Dr. Janelle Cross. So she goes to her sister's destination wedding where I believe it's the best man is her ex, I think. Oh, no, not at all her ex. They just have undeniable chemistry. So they decide, well, at this destination wedding for the week, they are going to have a little fling. Oh my God, the font is huge in this. I love that because it's already like not beefy at all. Could this have been under 300 pages? It could have been. Okay, then I will save this for the next time I get under 300 pages because it's clocking at like 260. So our next option is Canadian Boyfriend. This one is newer to me. I just picked this up at Book Outlet's sale. And this one I know next to nothing about, just that she's a ballerina and he's a hockey player. And I want a hockey romance right now. So I picked this one up thinking maybe this one. But speaking of hockey romances, we have 3 other hockey romances with blue covers. So like that's kind of crazy. Offside by Avery Keelan, I think is her name. This one kind of ruling out because of how beefy it is. That's way too. Is it ever that serious? This is so much words. So yeah, thinking no for Offside, but we do have The Pucking Wrong Number. This one's by C.R. Jane, and this one is a darker hockey romance. And then the last hockey romance that I have is from Lukov with Love. This one is part of my 25 book stream 2025. And even though it is also a beefier guy, Mariana Zapata's books don't read beefy to me. Like she could write 600 pages and I will read it in a day. Like something about her writing, I literally just get through it so quickly. So even though this one's 531, that's not crazy to me for her. So I'm not going to write this one off just yet. And it's like the palest blue color. It's like super pretty blue. And then the last 2 books that I picked up are Baby Moon or Bust, which is like a super blue cover. I was thinking tropical. I was thinking similar to Only for the Week. But this one gives kind of like a tropical vibe. My understanding of this is that our main girl, what is her name? Tessie. Our main girl, Tessie, has a one-night stand, decides to keep the baby, and like goes on like a vacation, like a baby moon, and runs into the guy that she's having his baby. So she didn't tell him that they're going to be parents. She just decides to do it on her own. So this is them kind of trying to work it out on her baby moon. So there's that one as an option. And then obviously Lights Out has very much blue on the cover. And we were going to try and sneak this one in to the TBR. I do already have the audiobook one for this one saved. But I think the 2025 Priority TBR is going to take over. If I do get the Priority TBR prompt, I'm going to swap it out and put Lights Out in place of Blue Book and then do this one for the Priority TBR. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I want to make sure I'm prioritizing my Priority TBR since we literally just have the 1 month left. And I've kind of done a terrible job at it. I think I have 7 or 8 books left on that list. So we're doing From Lukov with Love. Okay, now let's pick, and this one's our 6th book? Yeah, our 6th book. 3 and 4. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. A standalone. Okay, I was literally just talking to my friend the other day about how everything is a series now. So let's see if I can find a standalone. The elusive standalone that feels like it doesn't exist anymore. Let's see what we got. Usually for this prompt, I really like to do a like mystery thriller just because those are more likely to be standalone books in my experience. It's kind of hard to make a thriller like a series unless you're solving, like following someone solving a crime. So decided to take a peek at Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This was his release from last year, and I still need to read it. This is one of his last books that I have left, and I love Riley Sager. I feel like I go through like a weird, like springtime mystery thriller, like kick. And I didn't really do that this year. So I kind of miss reading his work. But the other one that I picked up that's a contender for a standalone is also by an author that I love. I think I've read all of her books besides this one. And that is The Legacies by Jessica Goodman. She writes YA thrillers, and they're usually set in like wealthier like schools is kind of her shtick. We did The Counselors earlier this year. Absolutely liked that one. I was going to say absolutely loved. And then I was like, oh, no, there was something off about it. Legacies is, I think, her newer-ish book. I've known about this book for like at least 2 years. Yes. Yeah. This came out in 2023. So it's not really new, but it also is more recent than The Counselors. So this is one of our options. This is the other. I don't know which one I'm feeling more the vibe of. My understanding is that this one is obviously like a school setting. Swearing an invitation to the Legacy Club in New York City is more than an honor. Da, 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 da. I'm not sure. Do I have anything else? I don't have anything YA on the TBR at all right now, but I also don't have anything remotely close to a mystery thriller. And I do know that this one is a little bit different for Riley Sager because he usually writes female protagonists, and this one's a man solving, I believe, his best friend's disappearance when they were kids. Yeah. Talking about being 10 years old, and then 30 years later, he returns to his childhood home. So actually, maybe this one does sound a little bit more interesting. Okay, I think I'm doing Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I like that choice. So that was book 6. Let's go ahead and pick our 7th book. 2 and 2. 2 and 2. Good or fun title? Okay, we've had this before, and I do not remember what all books I put in that kind of like lineup of like a good fun title. I remember looking for a while. So I guess I'm going to go hunt for the good fun titles. Be right back. So as much as I wanted to pull like a bunch of books and, you know, have like a whole like lineup of options, I remembered a book that came out earlier this year that's a sequel to a book I read this time last year and absolutely loved. So I decided, let's go ahead and pick that up. It's Christmassy, so that's super cute. Go luck yourself. Yes, this is the sequel to The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, that one. It is by Sarah Raish. I don't know how to say that, and then I'm sick, so it sounds worse. So with this one, we are following a Prince of Christmas and a Prince of St. Patrick's Day. So that sounds super cute, super fun. I had such a good time with the first one. Absolutely loved their cute little banter and like all of the fun little like witty quips they get at each other about their holidays. So I'm really hoping that this one follows that kind of same little like enemies to lovers like plot line. I think that Sarah does that really, really well. So this is definitely going on the TBR, and it's Christmassy, so that's really cute too. Okay. Oh my god, we're already on our last book. This is crazy. 5 and 2. 5, 2. Pretty cover. We like getting pretty cover. Okay. Let's go take a peek at all of my really pretty covers and see what pretty cover speaks to me today. So, for pretty covers, I tried to pick options that I don't usually pick. I think there are at least 2 repeats in here, but I tried to pick ones that I don't usually go for when I think of pretty cover. 2 of them are newer though, so that's also probably part of it. So the first one is A Dance of Lies. I literally didn't check the title. I was like, this one's pretty. A Dance of Lies. This one is by Britney Arena. I don't know anything about it. I know it's romantasy. I'm pretty sure the main character is a dancer of some sort, like a ballerina. But Dance of Lies is our first option. The next option that we have is Immortal by Sue Lynn Tan. I believe this is part of her Daughter of the Sun Goddess, Moon Goddess, something Goddess series. But I don't know the correct reading order, which is why I always keep putting it off. I literally could just Google the order to read them in, and then I don't. So keep putting this one off for like no valid reason, but it's a really pretty cover. The next one I know has been on this prompt before, but I do not care. I keep putting it on here, hoping I'll read it. And that is Bull Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon. I just think that it's so pretty and so cool, and the edges are fantastic. I don't think you can even see in detail how cool the edges look. Bull Moon Rising is another option for pretty cover. And then the last one that I picked is Our Vicious Oaths by Kenndey Davenport. I'm like, her name's Nia, but I think she wrote under her pen name. Kenndey Davenport. Yes. So Our Vicious Oaths is basically about a girl trying to get like her kingdom right. Her dad's sexist and an asshole and wants her to get married first. So she agrees to this marriage that he wants to do, but then a guy who her dad had like slighted his kingdom and that royal family, this guy comes up and is like, hey, like, do you want me to like get you out of this marriage, and like I will help you like F over your dad if you help me like get my throne back. But I do have the pretty fancy special edition version of it. I also have like the regular edition of it because I pre-ordered it and forgot I pre-ordered it. So I have this pretty one with the sprayed edges, but the regular version of it is still like super pretty too. Okay, but yes, here's like the regular edition of it. So still super pretty. The glare from this freaking light is like crazy. But yes, that is our last option. I'm not 100% sure which one to go to. I did lean romantasy, even though I already have 2 romantasies on the TBR. I just feel like only 2 romantasies isn't that many for me. I think based on what I'm most excited to read, it is going to be Our Vicious Oaths. So I think we're going to go with Our Vicious Oaths and just go ahead and add this to the TBR. So that concludes our December TBR. Let me get it in like a good order so we can hold it up and take a cute little picture. So to review this month's TBR, the first book that we picked is Kelly Hart's Brimstone. This is the sequel to Quicksilver as part of a series. The next prompt that we got was under 300 pages, so we went with Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. The next prompt that we got was Brown on the Cover, so we went with For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn. Lessons in Chemistry was our pick for the prompt of literary fiction. For Blue on the Cover, we went with From Lukov with Love. We got the prompt of a standalone, and for that we picked Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. For a fun, what was it? Fun or cool? For a fun title, we went with Go Luck Yourself by Sarah Rash. And then our final prompt ended up being a pretty cover, so I went with Our Vicious Oaths. Awesome. Let me get this in like a nice, neat little stack somehow. Oh, I'm scared. These are like the 3 biggest books I could have picked, I think. Yeah, this is an insane stack. I do kind of love like how much variety I have in this stack. Like this is 8 books, but this feels like 20 books. Is this 8 books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is. Okay. I was like, did I forget how to count? It is 8 books, but it feels like 20 books. Like, what do you mean we have a literary fiction, a thriller? I think we have 3 romantasies and 3 like regular romance. Like that's a lot of variety this month. And fingers crossed since it's December and I hopefully will not have the plague again. Hopefully we're able to read all of our books and not just like sleep our days away. Let's go ahead and do, which emoji are we feeling? The Christmas tree. Do the Christmas tree for the Christmas Prince and Go Luck Yourself. I think that he would really enjoy that. So yes, that is our December TBR. So that concludes our video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Okay. Okay, ready? You ready? Let's do all of these books at the beginning. Okay. But here's just like a quick little rapid fire. I don't know why I picked it up. But Serena is actually half werewolf, and she doesn't, I don't know why I paused. I'm still recovering from my cold. I feel like I have the suds. Remember that episode of SpongeBob when he has the suds? That's how I feel. That was so gross. But yeah, so we're going with Lessons in Chemistry. Let's go ahead and roll again. Okay, I'm going to try to not knock over everything that I've ever touched in my life. Hi, Suman. Okay. You want down? You got it, you got it, you got it. Good boy. We're not going to drop it this time. I believe this is part of, oh, excuse me, I believe this is part of her, oh my God, I can't stop burping. Do you need down? Do you need down? You can get down. Yeah? Okay. Sorry, I think he was overwhelmed. I'm talking too much. And so the concept is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. No, that's not it. It's the enemy of my enemy is my lover. There we go. That's right. The enemy of my enemy is my friend is how the saying actually goes. Callie Brimstone's. Lessons in chemistry was our prompt. Well, why is it wiggling so much? Can you not wiggle? Can you stop doing that, honey? Okay. Okay. So we did a standalone and that I have one more video coming out this month because I'm going to be changing up how I do my videos in 2026, which is weird to say, but I'm going to be doing them every week and kind of switching up how we do our wrap up and TBR videos. So to kind of correct that, we're going to have one last video. Oh, this comes out at the beginning of December. What am I talking about? I'll say this next. What video am I making next? I don't remember. Yeah, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I never really have. Yeah.